No, Gainz Nation, I'm not wearing a sports bra. Roman already said it. I'm wearing a stringer for my old school bodybuilding people. And also too, I think my mom was like kind of like, she's like, why do you keep posting stuff with your shirt off? I'm like, well, it's a health and fitness channel. Like, what do you want me to do? Like if I'm gonna do a coffee chat and I'm already having my shirt off. It's the morning. Like I got nowhere to be. Like I'm just gonna have my shirt off. Like obviously I'm not showing my whole body, and I'm not, of course, like fully naked trying to post a video. If I was that thirsty, I probably would have done it and made some money already by now.
That
um,
they ever give you the only feet thing, only fans, and then there was the foot fetish.
oh yeah,
Yeah, I've just been saying only toenail clippings.
yeah, yeah. Because I know because I don't want to get too sidetracked because I definitely want to get to what you have to talk about, Roman. But there is like a couple things that I want to go through. Um, I was a guest on Ascendant Fitness Garrett's podcast slash channel last week. He just posted it. If you guys haven't checked it out, please check it out. I may or may not just like also post it on the Gainz podcast. I didn't even ask Roman yet, but we'll see if like yeah if Garrett see like his style of podcast. I think it's more or less trying to promote like health and fitness and like kind of add in like a video gaming nature to it. He's really in the video games and like him and I play video games and obviously I don't really talk about it too much, but it's kind of like it's something I still go back to because it just kind of gives me a break from like life, and I just try to like play once in a while. And I also don't play a lot, so it's like people probably be like, oh, dude, Antoine's a bum. He plays. No, it's just like something to like get away and like kind of like just like I guess like bro out with my bros. Besides like like going out to a bar drinking, stuff like that. So it's like a little bit better in my eyes than just doing like stuff with the guys that like the typical, uh, you know, we can't be all pong champions like Joe over there. So if you haven't checked that out, check it out. He kind of actually turned me into like he was asking me a bunch of questions on how I got into fitness and whatnot. We do talk about some video games, but it's probably about an hour, but a really good conversation. I'm kind of sad though because we did it in a video, and then he's only starting off small, so he's only doing it on audio. So we'll see if he'll let me do like the actual like video of us talking because I think he was in his robe and I think I had my shirt off because it was like at like 7 in the morning. Which I'm surprised Roman and I have never done. Like Roman's an early guy, and like Roman and I never do early morning podcasts. But like for some reason, like Garrett's also a pretty early guy. And then I was like up, and I was like, hey, you want to do it? And it was on a Sunday, so I was like, I don't want to do it during football. And then I was like, you know what? Everyone's still sleeping. Let's get this podcast rolling. So I had like my water with me, and we were just podcasting it like, and then he got me so amped up, like I didn't even think I needed coffee afterwards. Like it was like a pretty good one. He got me amped up at the end. He got my energy going. So if you guys do want to see that, go check it out. It's on Spotify, and I don't know if it's anywhere else besides Spotify right now. So if you guys have a Spotify, check out Ascendant Fitness podcast, and then we'll link it in this too as well. Um, what else is there, Roman? Oh, also, I think I sent you. Did I send you the pictures of the blood work? I did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did get my yearly blood work done. Maybe we'll do like another podcast next one or whatever, going through the results. I do want to post it because, like I stress. Roman stresses. Bless you, Roman. We stress like even even if you're a healthy individual, get your blood work done at least once a year. There's obviously some caveats. People do get them more than once a year if like you have some health issues, or if you're older, things like that. But I just did get it done, and everything's in the green, and I love it, and I'm pretty happy about it. Because just having our first child, and then before our second child was born, um, I just want to make sure everything was good. So I got that done, like probably like less than 2 weeks ago. And then my golfer's elbow is like somewhat getting better. I'm actually pressing and doing back stuff um, a little bit more. My elbow, I've been wearing my compression cuffs on my elbow to make like pressing movements a little bit better. I still do feel like a little ache in the bone, but I don't really have like a constant pain throughout the day. So that's actually really good. I'm pretty happy about it. I press like 80 pound, which is pretty funny because I always think it's remarkable that I could still press like 80-pound dumbbells for like 10, and it was like way too easy for someone who hasn't like pressed in a while, right? So I did 80-pound dumbbells on my chest, just doing really slow, cutting it a lot shorter than close to failure. So like probably like RPE like 6 to 7. Been trying to do like I've been just trying to cut back and not getting close to RPE 9 or 10 anymore when it comes to like my chest and my back. I probably did my first arm session for like the past like month or two, like the other day, and it felt really nice. I like couldn't really do biceps or triceps much, and I just been doing a little bit lower weight like for my biceps, and it feels good to get like a bicep and tricep pump again, because I love doing arms. I mean, a lot of guys would probably say they like doing arms as well, so I'm probably not the only one. And then the last thing before I let you go, Roman, to do like an update, and maybe if we want to get into it so I can stop talking. Um, Man, I'm still, it's crazy these fear-mongering like Instagram posts. Like I just saw a post the other day about like baby foods, right? So like the video started off as like, oh my gosh, these baby foods and purees and puffs, they're failing the nutrition value because they lack protein, and you wouldn't believe it, they are high in sugars. And it's just like and then like and I posted in my story, I said, if you don't really know a lot about nutrition, this is like such fear mongering, and it's kind of annoying, especially being a parent, um, because there's like two main reasons, right? One, like most baby foods and stuff are like vegetables and fruit purees, which like obviously those are gonna lack in protein. Like if it's like spinach and apples, of course. And then the second thing, and when they say it's like everything's so high in sugar, they are thinking like, and then now they're putting in thoughts like the kids are getting like added sugars in. No, it's like the sugar from the apple. Yes. And then the third, I guess I'll add a third thing, sorry. A lot of the times for adults, like of course, a lot of the foods shouldn't be eaten at a broken down level because it breaks down a lot different in digestion when you eat like 2 apples raw instead of 2 apples like in a drink, right? Everyone should know that. Roman and I actually had a buddy of ours, which I honestly don't like as much. Like the strategy, he would drink like these smoothies every day, and it didn't seem like he ate like a bunch of raw vegetables or fruits, and he would eat a bunch and like a big shake. And I don't really care for those all the time. I like smoothies in like a fast-paced environment, and like if you for some reason eat a lot, like if Roman's bulking and he eats like a protein shake with a bunch of spinach in there, it's probably because he's eating a lot and he can't afford to sit there and eat like a bowl of spinach. But anyways, I'm digressing. But that's a third thing too, is like babies can't like chew down spinach. They can't chew down broccoli. Can you imagine like a baby with no teeth chewing broccoli sprouts? No. So okay, so all three of those things, and like people, and then like these parents will repost that and saying like baby food is like terrible. And then the last thing I want to say before I stop is like everyone knows that you should be feeding like your kids a whole food diet most of the time, right? So it's like, okay, let's use those as like supplements, right? And then try to give them the best food as possible. Because like when our kid was a wee whippersnapper, we'll call him that. We had a puree machine where we do like sweet potatoes and like a vegetable and like salmon, and then feed him that because he didn't have teeth. He can't eat that. There's other options to get like a good protein source like salmon and vitamins and nutrients. So that's it. That took 10 minutes of the time, Roman. Holy cow! I'm gonna let you talk for the 20 or so minutes. So
No, that was awesome, buddy. Yeah, and like other than finding trusted sources, I don't know how people sift through that milieu, unfortunately, because I find myself in it as well, and like I can spend a good portion of my day just like trying to fact check certain things.
yeah.
Like I won't call any like particular like media sources out, but like I'll see a story and it just like it doesn't drive like because I've become like a very practical thinker in my old age. So I think about like studies of something, it's like how can you give a piece of steak to a like 3-month-old? They don't have any. My niece, I don't think she got teeth until she was like almost 2, like maybe almost 3, like I forget, but like late, like really late. My wife would always like joke on her and be like she was just all gums, So it's like you can't give a piece, like if you're like carnivore, for example, like you quite like they will quite literally die, like they will choke on the piece of steak, like. So like I think about those like practical aspects sometimes, and like it just makes me like kind of shake my head. But like again, like you and I, we look into these kind of things. We're interested in like health and fitness, whatnot. But I'm sure there's certain things that like you and I will probably admit like we'll come across a certain idea, like and like okay, from a training perspective, I think I actually used to discount how effective the eccentric mode of a lift was, and now I'm like hyper conscious of it, hyper aware of it. So it's like when I do anything.
But
so
Roman counts out the eccentric now.
I do, like it's crazy, but like I'll have 3 to 6 second eccentric for almost any move, because like I believe so much in a loaded stretch now. Yeah, I don't have to go like deep into my my like lifting.
Now you
but
sound
like I'm
me.
doing. I'm doing curls this morning. I'm flexing a little bit for Gainz Nation. I was dieting last month. So I'm like doing my curls, and I call them like forward facing supinated dumbbell curls. So when I'm doing the eccentric, I'm like intentionally flexing my shoulder, keeping my shoulder up just a little bit as I'm allowing the weight to come down, and I'm really trying to fight it on the way down. And then I want to get a slight pause at the bottom, deep breath in, and then a controlled squeeze all the way to the top. Controlled squeeze, very, very brief at the top, not as long as I'm demonstrating here. Very brief, and then very controlled eccentric on the way down. But that's a concept that I very much discounted. So I've never been like the dive bomber like when doing squats, but like if I could squat, like if my like hip allowed me to, I would like squeeze the hell out of every eccentric or downward portion of the movement, and like demonstrate with the curl. That's something that like only up until maybe the past like not even 2 years has that been like a strong emphasis for me. And it was because of some of the things I was hearing, some of the things I was reading, and just some of the things that I was experimenting on myself. There's some other stuff like partials and whatnot. I like partials, but for the most part, I think from a very practical standpoint. So I think that like joints have to be able to move like in a healthy way about a full range of motion. And when I say healthy, I mean like with as little like pain or discomfort as possible, right? So this actually brings us like perfectly like transitioning to the topic that I wanted to bring to you all today, and you actually segued too, buddy, which I love. So the concept
I don't ever mean to, by the way.
Yeah, no, it was unbelievable. But it's so funny because it's like it shows that we're like on the same wave, like that we're like thinking the same thing, even if we like put different words to it, but same concepts. So we'll call this something to the effect of like non-standard programming to combat like staleness, like injury, etc. So the concept is I thought of this as like a logical equation. So I'll try and like run it by you all. So if standard programming, meaning like whatever you choose, you create your day 1 through 5, for example, I'm going to resistance exercise train 5 days a week. I'm going to do 3 upper body sessions, 2 lower body sessions, sprinkle in abs here or there, whatever meets your goals. One day is going to be like, squats, like barbell squats, leg press, deadlifts, ham curls, leg extensions, and calf raises, for example. So like, okay, you set your program. That's what I mean by standard, okay? Non-standard would be deviating from that program. Essentially program hopping, but not. So stay with us. I know. Stay tuned, Gainz Nation. So non-standard programming would essentially break from that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take those out, although you may want to, depending on the circumstances. So what are those circumstances? Those circumstances are if that movement is exacerbating that issue. So if you have like, oh my goodness, the stupid thumbs up thing. If you have a hip issue, okay? And when you squat, it makes it feel worse. The pain increases. It gets to a point where it's unbearable. You're not able to go through the full range of motion that you would like to, or you believe that you can, or you have in the past. So that's a movement, I would say, nix it, take it out. Antoine's having golfer's elbow, right? So if it's a curling movement, you gotta take it out. So sometimes I think it's important to go back to basics, like what movements can the elbow allow for? So this is a hinge joint, but the elbow can allow for a little bit of like sliding and gliding, for example. So I'd try and tackle it, from like a bottom up approach or top down approach, or a bit of both, for example. So it may be a situation where you're taking a fairly lightweight object. So as opposed to doing curls, okay, take a fairly lightweight object and you're just turning it over. Slow, turning it over. You're focusing on pronation, supination, unbelievable. You're focusing on supination, okay, I think it's supination. One of the chief principal responsibilities of the bicep is to take the hand or the forearm and twist it, turn it up, supinate it, okay? So I would work on supin. Another principle of the bicep is a flex shoulder. So the bicep, believe it or not, it actually starts the flexion process of the shoulder joint. Pretty cool, right? So what's another thing that I might do? I might not be able to do curls, right? So I might not be able to do curls, but I might take a very light dumbbell and I might work on supination. What's another thing that we could do? I might take a cable or a band. All right, I'm gonna step back here, Gainz Nation. Put it on my foot, bottom of my foot. I gotta take off the stupid blur thing. All right, bear with me, Gainz Nation. Technology. I sell it, but I'm not good at it. All right, here we are. It's not blurry anymore. We're gonna put you down a little lower, Gainz Nation. All right. So we're gonna put the band down here, for example. And what I might do is I might just do a banded front raise. Okay? Banded front raise. And I really want the tension to come up as you're flexing that shoulder joint. So it's just an example of something that I would do, what I would consider non-standard programming. So again, we're talking about the elbow joint. The elbow joint is hurting. You got tennis elbow. You got golfer's elbow, whatever it might be. these are some things that I do when I get injured. I'll give you another example. So I started running again. This past Sunday, I ran 2 miles at the track. Here's how things goes. I'm gonna run 2 miles because I'm prepping for this race. I didn't sign up for it in time. It filled up. I missed it. I didn't know at the time. I'm still gonna run because I want to and I can. So I commit. All right, I'm gonna run, do a sunrise jog at the track. It's, 8 loops around a quarter-mile track. I'm gonna try and stick between a 10-minute and a 12-minute mile. I was just getting off of a cold. I thought that was a pretty fair test. Here's me, first lap, 2 minutes 30 seconds, perfect. I'm right on the 10-minute pace. By the end, I'm at like a 9-minute mile. Whoa, where did I catch up on time? Second mile, it was like 8:47 or something along those lines. It was like the best 1 mile time I've had in a while. Not good. I committed to 10 to 12 minutes, but here's myself competing against myself. So what ended up happening? Little soreness in my hamstring, little soreness in my hip. What did I do? Non-standard programming. So I looked at the soreness I was having. It was more pain. I just hit my 6-month anniversary for lifting from like a hypertrophy standpoint. Woo, 6 years. I'm really stoked. I should be posting photos soon. I did a little mini cut. We can maybe talk about that in another podcast about some do's and don'ts of mini cuts, such as using the same scale and don't scale hop because it's never a good thing because they're totally calibrated differently. So oopsies, new mistake. But anywho, non-standard program. What would be standard programming? I think like a ham curl machine, maybe like a dumbbell RDL or something along those lines. Non-standard programming. I'm gonna differentiate, or I'm going to break from. And I'm not sure how we're doing on timing, so I still want to do the logical equation because you can use that as a test to determine whether it is a path forward for you for your course of action, right? Sometimes it might be as short as 1 week. Sometimes it might be in excess of 4+ weeks. Okay, it depends on the the micro injury. Okay, remember, we're not doctors. This is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So do with this as you will. But, we're trying to help. Okay. We're doing our best to try to help. But again, we can't apply this to all circumstances. We just don't know all those circumstances. But there's some principles that I believe will be effective for you. So again, non-standard programming. So hamstring, it was a little tweaky, I wouldn't say low grade pain. Okay. Not soreness, little soreness, but also painful too. Again, I can deal with soreness, but pain, I was like, what did I do? Oh, obviously I overextended, right? And I described how I overextended. So I focused on my glute medius actually. So throughout the week, and it was gone by Tuesday or Wednesday, but I think that this was part of it, right? And even if it's a false concept, if it still gets you to the end goal, it still achieves the goal that you want to achieve. So goal setting and getting after it is important too. A lot of digressions. Apologies, Gainz Nation. So I focused on strengthening the glute medius, and it was just like simple drills, abduction drills. So again, I'll show you here. So I would just set up, there's a table right here, and hold the table, and it would just be some of these. Just some of these, okay? That's all I did. I might do some hip circle drills, okay? What else did I focus on? There's one more specific thing. It was probably some sort of a Bulgarian split squat type perspective, nice and slow. I'm going a little bit faster than I'd probably like to. But you get the point. All right. So that's my recommendation. If you find that your standard programming is causing you to be injured, I'm trying to get into the logical equation, and we know that movement, specifically hypertrophic movement, can grow muscle and also provide what's called a local analgesic effect or a local numbing to the muscle group you're working. Oh, fancy, Steffi Cohen. Thank you for that. Thank you for that terminology. We'll throw it back to Steffi.
You like giving respect to people who still have hate towards their ex-husband and get in trouble with the police.
Man, and she's a beast boxer. Don't mess with Steffi. I mean, you should never.
Did you hear about that or no?
No, but
she's gotten arrested like twice in the past year.
Oh, really? From what I hear, like that was a really bad situation. Like her ex was like very abusive and stuff like that. So that's really shitty. Hopefully she's doing well.
No, I just think it's funny how because like I remember like I haven't really watched her stuff, and then all of a sudden people keep sending me random like mug shots of her. She like got arrested twice.
Well, she is in Florida, and Florida is a special place for special people.
Sorry about that.
Shout out to my mom. Hey, Ma, how you doing? Love you, Ma. My mother lives in Florida. We love to rag on Florida. It's all good. It's all good, Florida. Okay, so back to the logical equation. Okay, so if your standard programming may have gotten you injured, this can happen, right? It's okay. And we know that hypertrophy can help to grow muscles and movement in general. Resistance exercise training, let's call it resistance exercise training as opposed to hypertrophy, okay? Resistance exercise training can cause a local analgesic effect to the muscle you're working on. So, bicep movement, you're working the bicep, et cetera, et cetera. We talked about the function of joints, all that fun stuff. Keep that in mind. Then, if non-standard programming or non-standard movements, meaning movements that you haven't been doing, different movements, but still aid in that function. You can't be doing a leg extension like, I'm working on my bicep, okay? So, okay, be rational, think with your mind, logical, okay? We're trying to give you a logical equation. And where does non-standard programming go from here, Roman? Come on, think, Roman, I should have wrote it down. And non-standard programming is by its definition not your standard programming, so not the programming that may have gotten you injured. Then the non-standard programming may assist, since resistance exercise training creates that local analgesic effect and that short of like numbing, or a lot of people will say like, oh, my back feels better when I go for a walk. Then non-standard programming may be beneficial. I'll have to write it down because I'm sure I butchered it, but hopefully you get the point that sometimes we might run our programs maybe a little too long, do a particular movement a little too long, it might get stale. It may increase the likelihood that we could get injured because, we keep on targeting those tissues, those joints, etc. in that same way. So a slight break away from them, from those modalities, those movement patterns may assist in the healing process. Buddy, what do you think?
I love all of it. For someone that never had elbow pain before, is learning a lot by it. And like even like marathon training, I had to put in a bunch of non-standard training modalities because of the fact that I was trying to minimize risk of injury and maximize recovery. So I think you hit the nail on the head. And yes, I've used that saying twice today, and not to Roman, one time earlier today. But I guess that's like a dad thing to do, is just use the same saying in the day multiple times in a day. But no, I think that's great. And let us know in the comments below if you're dealing with something like that. And we would like to kind of share with the community on what you guys are doing towards like your goal of getting better, right? At the end of the day. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.